Number 10. Scarlett Johansson's used tissue. The internet has opened up the world to all sorts of possibilities and provided information for people to indulge themselves with their weirdest preferences, be it in cosmetic products, edibles, someone else's bodily fluids, you name it. And many of them are more than prepared to pay to get their weird fix. We're all familiar with Scarlett Johansson. She's an amazing and beautiful actress. She's played in some of our favorite movies, and most of us would give just about anything to be in her proximity. But would you buy a tissue with her boogers in it? Would you like to own something she blew her nose in? Apparently, there are people out there who would love to have her snotty tissue. Our celebrity worship culture reached its fever pitch a long time ago, but this is going too far. In 2008, when Scarlett was promoting her latest movie, The Spirit, she appeared on the US talk show Tonight. The stunning actress admitted that she had caught a cold, probably from her co-star Samuel L. Jackson, and desperately needed a tissue to blow her nose. Jay Leno then provided her with one. All good so far. But then she announced that she might be selling that used tissue where she just emptied her nostrils in, sign her name on it, and sell it on eBay. She even mentioned Samuel L. Jackson deserves some credit because he's probably the one who gave her the cold. The used tissue was sold for a solid $5,300, and the money was given to charity. Great cause, but really, really gross. Number 9. Murderabilia. Yes, that is a real word, and yes, it's something that almost means what you think. As we just covered, people are all forgetting all kinds of weird or gross memorabilia and collectibles from their favorite celebrities. The twist here, though, is that murderabilia is the act of collecting items from infamous people, like serial killers. It's not illegal stuff like the murder weapons, obviously those things are secure in an evidence locker somewhere, but it's rather items that these killers owned in their lives or during their murder sprees. For example, the infamous serial killer John Wayne Gacy was a self-proclaimed artist and painter. Not a very good one, but hey, after he was captured, a lot of his stuff went up for sale, and people will pay big bucks for it. Why? Because it's a unique piece. Number 8. Elephant Dung beer. We all like to kick back with a beer or two after a long day at the office. It just tastes so good and so refreshing. There is one beer, however, that might not taste so good and refreshing to all, but is still being bought by some. Would you drink a beer knowing it was made in part by elephant dung? Most would say hell no. Elephants are majestic creatures, no doubt. They can grow taller than 13 feet or just under 4 meters and weigh more than 15,000 pounds or just shy of 7,000 kilograms. There are rumors that they never forget and are quite literally the cutest characters in animated movies. With their size in mind, it's not difficult to imagine the grandiosity of their bowel movements, aka poop piles. Some of you may be familiar with the fact that fancy coffee is made in part from dung. You didn't know? Well, now you do. A Japanese brewery company called St. Gallen is using coffee beans made from elephant manure in their new dark beer called Unuko no Kuro. How does this beer taste? According to various sources, it tastes a lot like dark coffee. The first small batch of the brew was almost instantly sold out, which was taken as an indicator by the manufacturers of the beer that there is a sizable market of beer lovers who would gladly drink beer made from elephant poop. If there's a demand, the product will be made, so production increases for the strange beverage. It has even been planned that the beer would be put on tap in some of Tokyo's new beer shops. If you like beer and you are an animal lover, then I guess this beer is an ideal choice for you. Would you try it? Number 7. Facial with sheep placenta. We are all constantly battling the effects of time because aging is not always fun. And with social media nowadays, it's easier for people to compare themselves to one another, especially celebrities, which we should never do. You're not ugly, you're just poor. There isn't much that Hollywood statuettes haven't tried in order to achieve the much desired goal of looking young. But one of the latest trends in the past few years is sheep placenta for skin rejuvenation. Yes, sheep placenta-based facials basically involve the use of stem cells from sheep that work as an anti-aging serum. Apparently, many celebrities have tried this and are thrilled with the results, including Kim Kardashian, Victoria Beckham, and Harry Styles, just to name a few. Skincare expert Louise Deschamps describes the sheep placenta facial, one of the signature treatments offered at Dr. Harold Lancer's famed dermatology practice in Beverly Hills, as, quote, super hydrating and nourishing. It's a favorite for the female celebrities for that perfect plump skin and pre-event glow. For guys, it's the go-to treatment because it leaves them looking fresh and refreshed, end quote. Deschamps claims that the treatment can prevent skin inflammation and improve skin immunity. If your goal is to improve your skin quality, you may just need to endure the sin of, quote, sweat mixed with vinegar, and set aside some $500. But that's a small price to pay for eternally beautiful and youthful skin. Don't you think? Botox is one thing, but sheep placenta? Would you ever try this? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Number 6. Frozen human feces. It should come as a big surprise that human poop would find its way to be monetized, because, after all, it's in abundance. Ew. Did you know that you could actually be a donor of your excrement? Well, you can only if you are very, very healthy. Human poop can actually prove to be worth up to $18,000 a year. The poop is frozen and then utilized to be severely effective for a condition known as C. diff, or Clostridium difficile. This condition is related to bacteria that can cause symptoms ranging from diarrhea to life-threatening colon inflammation. To treat this condition and several others, frozen human poop is often produced in the form of pills that provide a less invasive treatment option for emerging infectious diseases. Apparently, this kind of poop pill treatment is effective in almost 90% of cases, especially when it's used to treat the aforementioned C. diff or Clostridium difficile. While it's understandable that human poop may have some other purpose than is most commonly known in practice, it's a very difficult pill to swallow. Yes, that's a pun. Because the fact that anything this disgusting can actually be worth money is pretty ridiculous. Number 5. Belly button lint. Okay, this one isn't exactly worth a lot of money, but it's valuable to one man. As hobbies go, collecting belly button lint probably isn't something you're likely to share with people. But that's not really an issue for 45-year-old Graham Barker, who is celebrating being recognized by the Guinness Book of Records for collecting belly button fluff. He has saved 22.1 grams of lint in different jars after, quote, harvesting it every day for over 26 years. He has even considered stuffing a cushion with his bizarre collection. WTH. He literally plucks the fluff while he waits for his shower to warm up. The color depends on what towel Graham uses that day. He said, the whole process takes only about 10 seconds and has become automatic. I don't even need to devote much time or attention to it. End quote. Graham first began his collection one night when he was bored, saying, quote, I noticed the lint in my navel and became curious as to how much of it one person can produce. I decided the only way to find out was to collect it for a while and see. I had an empty film canister with me, which became a perfect receptacle, and that's all there was to it. No obsession or grand plan, just simple curiosity, end quote. Graham said the amount of fluff he collects each day depends on what clothes he's been wearing, with thermal underwear being the highest producer. He also said that having a shower tends to wash away any lint, so the logical time to collect it is just before getting into the shower each evening. He turns on the taps and then plucks and stores it while waiting for the water to heat up. The daily harvests are stored in small clay pots, especially made for collecting navel lint, and at the end of each year, the small amount is added to his main collection. Graham said he will stop collecting when he is no longer physically capable. What a weirdo. Number 4. Blood facial. Just when we thought that rejuvenating skin treatments couldn't get any crazier, blood facials, or the so-called vampire facials, appeared somewhere in 2013. They were famously or infamously popularized by reality star Kim Kardashian, who had been hailing it before declaring that she regretted doing them and calling them rough and painful. Does injecting your own blood back into your face in the name of beauty sound like a step too far to you? Well, many people don't actually have a problem with it. This, quote, vampire facial, also known as a PRP, platelet-rich plasma facial, has been under scrutiny since our beauty Kim first introduced it during an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But in 2019, this procedure gained even more notoriety after 2 clients treated with it at a spa in New Mexico tested positive for HIV. This procedure is contentious even in a world of facial aesthetics, as Dr. Darren McEwen points out. The procedure involves taking blood from a patient, extracting the plasma using a centrifuge, which contains platelets and growth factors, and then re-injecting it into the face. In theory, these platelets and growth factors initiate a healing response, which results in skin rejuvenation over time. This controversial procedure isn't even definitively proven to work. Some studies have confirmed that it has a beneficial effect on the skin, while other studies have found zero evidence of that. Number 3. Whale vomit. Did you know that you can get rich if you find and sell a nice piece of ambergris, aka whale vomit? The most expensive piece sold for $3.2 million, and a fisherman making $670 a month was the one who found it. Ambergris, as it's often referred to, is a solid, waxy, and flammable substance that is dull gray or blackish in color. The reason for its high price lies with its origin. This costly wax is produced as a secretion in the digestive system of the sperm whale. The sperm whale uses it to protect its intestines from the sharp beaks and squids it gobbles up. It smells like feces and has a darkish look while it floats in the ocean after it's excreted from the sperm whale's body, but after a while it acquires a sweet, earthy scent. Also known as floating gold, this sperm whale excretion is often found floating on the surface of tropical seas. It's used as a fixative in perfumes as it evaporates very slowly. The problem is that some of these substances are obtained by murky channels, such as by killing sperm whales, which the police have become very aware of. Aside from its use as a fixative, especially in rare perfumes and fragrances like musk, there is also superstitious belief that burning whale vomit for good scent can make a person rich. Dogs are very attracted to this smell, and that is why dogs are often used to trace this whale puke. Number 2. Garbage for $100. You know how they say one man's trash is another man's treasure? Well, they might be onto something. New York-based artist and entrepreneur Justin Gignac has found a way to merge art and shameless money-making. Gignac goes out to the streets of New York, hand-picks up to 100% authentic trash wherever he finds it, packages it in beautiful little garbage cubes, signs it, and writes the date, and boom, art. This odd and unsanitary idea began when a colleague of his questioned his proposition that the package of what people would buy is equally or even more important than the actual content. He decided to prove his point by packaging literal rubbish from the streets of the Big Apple. The resourceful artist decided to start collecting the finest scraps and carefully place them in individual cubes. He started selling them for $10, but after seeing that people perceive them as New York souvenirs, he raised the price to $25. Once he raised the price to $50, $100, and people started perceiving the cubes filled with trash as art. He also started producing a number of more costly special edition cubes, such as the ones that included garbage from President Obama's inauguration and the opening day of the new Yankee Stadium. He has sold over 1,300 garbage cubes in 29 countries across the world. Number 1. Casu Marzu, putrefied cheese with maggots. I think we can all agree that most people enjoy cheese in one form or another. Even the extremely smelly variations seem to be very popular and appealing to many people, especially the smelly variations. That goes even for blue cheese, which some claim is even more than multi-fat. But where most people would draw the line is a cheese infested by maggots. Casu Marzu is a Mediterranean speciality, Sardinian to be exact, a festering pile of rotten pecorino cheese teeming with squirming fly larvae. It is important to note that this deliciousness is actually contraband, so many people hide it under counters and cupboards in open-air markets. This is a kind of cheese where flies are not only permitted, but actually encouraged to deposit eggs, and when those eggs hatch, the maggots eat the cheese and release an enzyme, triggering a fermentation process that causes the fat in the cheese to putrefy. Does this sound tasty so far? You must be wondering what this speciality tastes like. Most people who have tried it report that it creates a burning sensation of a gluey mass inside your mouth. It is a common wisdom that you should cover the cheese with your hand after you've raised a piece of it to your lips in order to prevent the maggots from leaping into your eyes while you're enjoying the delicacy. There is even a variation of the Casu Marzu for those who would rather skip the, quote, ingesting live maggots part, where the dish is first placed into a paper bag and then sealed. After the maggots have become starved for oxygen, they jump out of the cheese and create a wriggling sound in the paper bag. And if this description doesn't make your mouth water, I don't know what will. Thanks for watching. Can you think of any other disgusting things people spend money on? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on The Bad Badger.